Circle theorems. Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to learn about circle theorems. First of all, what is a theorem? A theorem is a statement that has been proven to be true every time. Before diving into the theorems, let's familiarize ourselves with some key points of a circle. The first term we need to understand is circumference. Circumference is the distance around the edge of a circle. For example, if we were to unwind the circle into a straight line, the length of that line would be the circumference of the circle. Consider 2 points on the circumference of a circle. The length of the circumference between these 2 points is called an arc. An arc is simply a portion of the circle's circumference. The smaller part is known as the minor arc, while the larger part is called the major arc. If we join these 2 points with a straight line, that line is called a chord. The chord divides the circle's area into 2 regions. These regions are called the segments. The smaller region is the minor segment, and the larger region is the major segment. This chord can be anywhere inside the circle, but if it passes through the center of the circle, it is called the diameter of the circle. Remember, a straight line from one point on the circumference to another point on the circumference, passing through the center of the circle, is the diameter of the circle. If a line connects the center of the circle to a point on the circumference, it is called the radius of the circle. Now, imagine there are 2 points on the circumference of a circle, creating an arc. If we connect these 2 points with another point on the circumference, we form a shape with an angle. This angle, formed at the circle's edge by these 2 lines, is called the angle subtended by the arc. The term subtended means that this angle is created by the arc, so we say the angle is subtended by the arc. Apart from these concepts, we need to keep in mind that the sum of the interior angles of a triangle is always 180 degrees. If we consider a square instead of a triangle, the sum of all the interior angles is 360 degrees because each corner angle is 90 degrees, and 4 times 90 equals 360. This statement holds true for any quadrilateral, even if its corner angles are not 90 degrees. Also, a basic fact is that if we consider a straight line with a point on it, the angle created by the straight line at this point is 180 degrees. These are some basic terms we need to understand. Let's start with theorems. Angles in the same segment are equal. Imagine we draw a circle and then draw a chord on that circle. If we mark a point on the circumference and connect that point with the endpoints of the chord, we get an angle. This angle subtended at this point will remain the same no matter where the point is located on the circumference, as long as it stays within the same segment. Similarly, if we move the chord to a different position, creating new segments, any angle subtended by the chord in the new segment will also be equal, no matter where the point is on the circumference, as long as it remains in the same segment. Another way to see this is that the angle subtended by an arc remains the same as long as the point stays within the same segment. If we move this point to the other segment, the angle changes. However, within the original segment, the angle will remain constant regardless of where the point is located along the arc. This can also be represented without showing the chord. If we see 2 angles like this, we should remember that they are equal because they lie in the same segment. By drawing a chord connecting the points where these angles meet the circle, we can see that these angles are indeed equal to each other. Next, let's look at the theorem that states the angle in a semicircle is always 90 degrees. This theorem is closely related to the previous one. Imagine we shift a chord so that it passes through the center of the circle, transforming it into the diameter. Now, if we draw angles in the same segment as we did for the previous theorem, and this line happens to be the diameter of the circle, the angle formed will always be 90 degrees. This holds true regardless of the point's location on the circumference. To put it simply, any angle subtended by the diameter at the circumference of the circle will always be a right angle, or 90 degrees. This theorem is essentially a special case of the angles in the same segment theorem, where the segment happens to be a semicircle. So, there you have it. The angles in the same segment are equal, and the angle in a semicircle is always 90 degrees. The next theorem states that in a cyclic quadrilateral, the sum of diagonally opposite angles is always 180 degrees. First, let's define what a cyclic quadrilateral is. A quadrilateral is called a cyclic quadrilateral if all four of its corner points lie on the circumference of a circle. If even one of its corners is not on the circumference, it is not considered a cyclic quadrilateral. According to this theorem, if you have a cyclic quadrilateral, the sum of any two opposite angles will always be 180 degrees. For example, if we look at these two opposite angles, their sum will always be 180 degrees. Similarly, if we consider the other pair of opposite angles, their sum will also be 180 degrees. This statement holds true regardless of the shape of the quadrilateral, as long as it is a cyclic quadrilateral. The key condition is that all the corner points must lie on the circumference of the circle. Theorem 4. Angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. Consider a circle with a chord. If an angle is subtended at the circumference of the circle from this chord, and another angle is subtended at the center of the circle from the same chord, this theorem states that the angle at the center is twice the angle at the circumference. This means if the angle at the center of the circle is 120 degrees, then the angle subtended at the circumference should be half of this, which is 60 degrees. This relationship holds true regardless of the length of the chord. It's important to remember that even if the chord is not explicitly shown, this theorem still applies. The angles will maintain this relationship as long as they are subtended by the same arc or chord. Theorem 5. The alternate segment theorem. For this theorem, we need to understand what a tangent is. A tangent is a line that touches a circle at exactly one point. If a line touches a circle at more than one point, it is known as a secant. So, a tangent touches the circle at a single point. Consider a chord on a circle with a tangent touching one of the endpoints of the chord. This creates this specific angle, as shown. According to this theorem, the angle made by the chord with the tangent is equal to the angle subtended by the chord in the opposite segment of the circle. Similarly, this line will also be a chord for this tangent. Therefore, the angle made by this chord with the tangent is equal to the angle subtended by this chord in the opposite segment of the circle. This theorem is commonly known as the alternate segment theorem. It states that the angle between a chord and a tangent at the point of contact is equal to the angle subtended by the chord in the alternate segment of the circle. Next, let's look at the theorem which states that the perpendicular from the center bisects the chord. If we have a chord in a circle, and a line perpendicular to this chord that passes through the center of the circle, this perpendicular line will bisect the chord into two equal halves. This means that the two segments of the chord on either side of the perpendicular are equal in length, as indicated by the small lines. Next, tangent meets radius at 90 degrees. Let's talk about tangents and radii. Imagine you have drawn a straight line that just touches the circle at one single point. This line is called a tangent. Now, let's draw another line from the center of the circle to the point where the tangent touches the circle. This line from the center is called the radius. The special thing about this setup is that the tangent and the radius always meet at a right angle, which is 90 degrees. This means that if you were to put a little square at the point where the radius meets the tangent, it would fit perfectly, showing that the angle between them is 90 degrees. Next, the lengths of two tangents from a point to a circle are equal. Let's talk about tangents from a point outside the circle. Suppose we have a point outside the circle, and we draw tangents from this point to the circle. We can draw two tangents at most from this point to the circle. If we measure the distance from this external point, which we'll call point P, to where each tangent touches the circle, we will find something interesting. The distance from point P to the point where the first tangent touches the circle will be exactly the same as the distance from point P to where the second tangent touches the circle. So, the lengths of the tangents from the external point P to the circle are equal. And usually, to represent this equality, we draw lines across both tangents. These lines serve as a visual indication that both tangents are equal in length. These theorems are not only fascinating but also incredibly useful in solving various geometric problems. I hope this video has been helpful in understanding these theorems. If you found this video informative and useful, please consider liking it. And if you're new to my channel, ADTW Study, don't forget to click on the subscribe button to stay updated with all my latest videos. Thank you for watching till the end.